So today we're going to be doing a capital raising breakdown for Data Republic. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're looking at this headline and it says Data Republic sold for a 94% discount. Here are some interesting pieces from it. So in this article, the first thing it's highlighting is who's actually just gone and acquired Data Republic. Now it's saying that ASX-listed data sharing company IXUP has bought its failed competitor Data Republic for a knockdown price of $3 million after the startup, partly owned by three of the major banks' venture arms, collapsed in May. So one of the issues that we have as founders is we see a lot of news stories related to companies that are raising capital. And unfortunately, what it's been positioned as is that raising capital equals success in this marketplace. And the sobering and humbling reminder from this story is that it doesn't. Like, at the end of the day, we all have to build real businesses that actually provides returns for our shareholders. And, it's no matter how much money we raise, that is what sits at the core of it. And it takes time to actually do that. And the reason I love this is obviously very well aware of Data Republic, very well aware of the impressive team that sat behind them. But it just really goes to show how hard it actually is to build a successful business when you can see that these guys were not only led by Danny Gilligan, as far as who was the CEO from sort of 2019, from what I can see, but all their backers was the Westpac Reinventors, ANZ Bank, and then NAB Ventures. They were all shareholders. So when you think about this, you think as a company that, look, if I got three of the major banks as shareholders in my business, I am good. I am done and dusted. I am on the path to success. Now, not only did it have that, but it also had high profile, I think it was the venture arm of Singtel as well as shareholders. So, and so you think about this from all the things that we talk about in what it takes to get investors' attention. This company had it all. They had blue chip clients, which they highlight. Some of their first clients was Westpac. They had blue chip team with, experience, execution capacity. Obviously, two of the most well-known VCs in the country as they're, on the board and, for the last couple of years as CEO, and three of the highest profile investors there is to have, four actually, if you include Singtel, that there is to have as shareholders for this part of the region. And so you go down and you can see that, they actually raised, $40 million. And it's interesting to note that, in that time that it talks about how the revenue had a decline. And obviously it's highlighting that the directors did nothing wrong. It's just basically there was an inability to raise capital. And if you look back at the time, about sort of, I think it was 3-4 months ago, there's an article talking about how they were going around looking to raise sort of $20 million to do it. Said what's interesting about this, said the company's cumulative losses were $40.8 million from 2014. I just wanted to use this one as an example, and this is a bit of a shorter video than normal, and it's not to bring attention to this in a negative way whatsoever. It's just basically, I just want to highlight to people that no matter what business you are building, no matter what ups and downs you are going through, the challenge that we all have is that we always feel like we're missing out, and we always feel like we have this imposter syndrome as founders because we see the success of others or what we deem as success, but what we don't know is they're all just going through their own stuff. They're all going through their own growing pains. They're all going through their own sort of customer pains. They're all going through their own team pains. All these different companies that you see as the great success stories are all going through their own issues. To me, this was one that just really stood out because it's such a high profile name with high profile shareholders, with a high profile board that have raised a substantial amount of money. And that up until this sort of announcement, you would, from the perception from a media perspective, you would think that everything is going swimmingly well and these guys are absolutely killing it. And this is the trap that we all fall into, is our perception is that we are going through our own challenges and we're looking at everyone else thinking that everyone else is just doing so well and doing so much better than us. And I commonly have this chat with founders, and of course we're all bullish and optimistic on what we can do, but it's that secret part of our brain that we never really talk about. And, obviously I have a lot of founders talk about it with me and so forth, which is why I like to sort of communicate it on these videos. But I think it's just a really nice reminder for us all that I said you can have everything looking like it's stacking up for you, and still not win. I said this is how hard this game is. This is why not being a founder and being an entrepreneur is for everyone. I said there's a high level of pressure, and you think about this, and the saddest part about this is you think there's obviously team members involved in this. You imagine the stress and pressure that all the executives and the directors of that business and the team leaders and all that sort of stuff would have gone through in going through this actual experience. And I'm sure, knowing the sort of history of these of sort of Simon and Danny, that they would have done everything they can to sort of protect the staff and all that sort of stuff. But the reality is this is just such a hard game. So I said for everyone out there looking at other companies, and there'll probably be another 3 media announcements or 2 media announcements about other successful capital raisers, and you're looking at that with success, just know that they're all dealing with their own issues. So that's it for today's video on today's capital raising breakdown. Slightly different turn for this one, but I hope it's helpful.